Victoria Hayes stood in the spacious living room of Alex Thompson's modest suburban home, clutching her designer suitcase tightly as she surveyed the cozy yet cluttered space filled with toys scattered on the floor, family photos on the mantel, and the faint scent of homemade cookies lingering in the air from the kitchen nearby, her heart pounding with a mix of reluctance and curiosity because she had just lost a high-stakes poker bet to her business rival who stipulated that the infamous Ice Queen CEO must live like a normal person for one full month with a complete stranger chosen at random, and that stranger turned out to be Alex, a handsome single dad with tousled dark hair, piercing blue eyes, and a muscular build hidden under a simple blue t-shirt, standing protectively in front of his 10-year-old son Timmy, who peered curiously from behind his father's leg with wide innocent eyes and a striped hoodie, the boy looking slightly wary of this elegant woman in denim jacket and jeans who had suddenly appeared at their doorstep with luggage in hand. Victoria's mind racing as she realized this bet was meant to humble her detached luxurious lifestyle, but already she felt an unexpected pull toward the warmth of this family dynamic that she had never experienced in her cold penthouse existence. Alex clearing his throat and saying welcome while trying not to stare at her stunning features and wavy brown hair, the tension thick in the air as Timmy whispered to his dad asking if she was staying forever, and Victoria forced a smile promising herself she would endure this to prove she could handle anything, even as her perfectly manicured world began to crack just a little from the very first moment she stepped inside this ordinary yet inviting home filled with natural light streaming through large windows adorned with simple curtains. As the days turned into the first week, Victoria awkwardly navigated the routines of the Thompson household, waking up early to the sound of Alex preparing breakfast in the kitchen where pancakes sizzled on the griddle and fresh coffee brewed, filling the house with comforting aromas that contrasted sharply with her usual rushed espresso from a high-end machine delivered by her personal assistant. She found herself helping Timmy with his homework at the dining table scattered with crayons and school books, while Alex worked from home as a freelance graphic designer at his desk in the corner of the living room surrounded by computer screens and sketches. The boy initially shy but gradually opening up, telling her about his school friends and his love for soccer, which Victoria knew nothing about but pretended interest to fulfill the bet's unspoken rule of full immersion. Evenings brought family dinners where Alex cooked simple yet delicious meals like spaghetti or grilled chicken that Victoria surprisingly enjoyed more than her gourmet restaurant outings. Conversations flowing tentatively at first, with Alex asking about her high-powered job and her replying curtly at the beginning, guarding her emotions like always, but slowly sharing snippets of her lonely climb to success, orphaned young and driven by ambition alone. Timmy's laughter echoing as he told jokes or showed off his drawings, warming something deep inside Victoria that she had long suppressed. Alex watching her interactions with his son with a mix of surprise and admiration, noticing how her sharp edges softened when she played board games with Timmy late into the night, the single dad himself feeling an attraction he hadn't expected since his wife's passing 5 years ago, leaving him to raise Timmy alone, vowing not to complicate life with romance. But here was this beautiful, strong woman disrupting his peaceful routine in ways that both scared and excited him as they bumped into each other in hallways or shared quiet moments on the couch watching Timmy's favorite cartoons. By the second week, Victoria had settled into a rhythm that felt strangely natural, volunteering to drive Timmy to soccer practice in her luxury car that stood out among the minivans in the parking lot, causing whispers among other parents, but she ignored them, focusing on cheering from the sidelines with genuine enthusiasm as Timmy scored his first goal, dedicating it to her, calling her Vicky for the first time, which made her heart swell unexpectedly. Back home, Alex thanked her profusely, his eyes lingering on hers a second too long, sparking a flutter in her chest that she dismissed as temporary insanity from this forced domesticity. They began sharing late-night talks after Timmy went to bed, sitting on the living room couch with glasses of wine, discussing everything from business strategies where Alex's creative insights impressed her to personal dreams where he confessed his fear of Timmy growing up without a mother figure, and she admitted her terror of vulnerability, having built walls after losing her parents young. The air charged with unspoken chemistry as their hands brushed accidentally or their gazes held during silences. One evening after a rain-soaked practice, Victoria helped Alex dry Timmy's hair and tuck him in, the boy hugging her goodnight, whispering that he wished she could stay forever, a comment that hung heavy as Alex and Victoria cleaned up the kitchen together, shoulders touching in the small space leading to their first real moment of tension when Alex joked about her losing the bet on purpose and she laughed freely, a sound rare and beautiful that made him lean in closer, almost kissing but pulling back at the last second, both breathless and confused by the growing connection in this makeshift family setup. Midway through the month, Cracks in Victoria's armored heart became evident as she cancelled important board meetings to attend Timmy's school play where he starred as a tree in the forest scene, beaming proudly from the stage while she clapped louder than anyone, her eyes misty with pride that surprised even herself. Alex, noticing her transformation from the aloof CEO who arrived with suitcase in hand to this engaged woman who now cooked breakfast, occasionally burning toast but laughing about it with genuine joy. Their flirtation escalated during a family outing to the local park where Timmy played on swings and Alex pushed Victoria, playfully challenging her to a race which she won in heels, somehow leading to him catching her in his arms, both laughing breathlessly, faces inches apart, the kiss finally happening, soft and tentative at first, then deepening with pent-up passion that left them stunned, pulling away as Timmy called for them to watch his slide trick. That night, after putting Timmy to bed, they talked seriously on the couch, Alex confessing he hadn't felt this alive since his wife died, and Victoria admitting the bet had forced her to confront how empty her life was without real connections, fearing the end of the month when she would return to her penthouse alone, tears welling in her eyes as Alex wiped them away gently, promising this didn't have to end, but she shook her head knowing the bet's terms and her pride wouldn't allow extensions, yet deep down hoping for more. As the third week progressed, intimacy grew between Victoria and Alex. Stolen kisses in the kitchen when Timmy wasn't looking, hands held under the dinner table, and one passionate night after the boy fell asleep early where they made love quietly in Alex's bedroom, exploring each other with tenderness and urgency, whispering promises in the dark that felt real despite the temporary circumstances. Mornings brought shared showers and playful banter, Victoria feeling younger and freer than ever, helping with laundry or grocery shopping, mundane tasks that now held joy because of the company. Timmy, sensing the change, asking innocently if Vicky was his new mom, a question that froze both adults, Alex changing the subject quickly but later discussing it privately, both agreeing it was too soon, yet the idea planted seeds of possibility. Victoria's work suffered slightly as she prioritized this life, her assistant panicking over missed calls, but she brushed it off, reveling in the balance she had never known. However, hints of the shocking truth began surfacing when Victoria found an old photo album in the living room shelf, flipping through pictures of Alex's late wife and freezing at one particular image that bore an uncanny resemblance to her own mother, a woman she barely remembered from childhood photos, stirring buried memories and questions she pushed aside for now, focusing on the happiness of the present moment. Entering the final week, emotions ran high as the end of the bet loomed, Victoria dreading the return to her isolated world while Alex planned to confess his love, hoping to convince her to stay voluntarily. Family activities intensified, a trip to the zoo where Timmy held both their hands, swinging between them, laughing joyfully, the perfect picture of togetherness that made passers-by smile, assuming they were a real family. Romantic dinners after Timmy's bedtime with candles and soft music, leading to more nights of passion where barriers fully crumbled, Victoria sharing her deepest fears of abandonment and Alex vowing to be there always, his single dad resilience shining through in his commitment. But the truth edged closer when Timmy innocently mentioned his mom's best friend from college who looked just like Vicky, a comment that piqued Victoria's curiosity, prompting her to ask Alex more about his late wife, who he described lovingly but vaguely, saying she had a complicated past involving a family secret. That night Victoria dreamed of her childhood, piecing together fragments that didn't quite fit, waking unsettled and deciding to dig deeper discreetly while cherishing the remaining days. On the penultimate day, Victoria confronted Alex gently in the living room after Timmy went to a sleepover, showing him an old locket she always wore containing a faded photo of her parents and asking if it rang any bells, his face paling as he recognized the woman not as his wife but as her sister's close friend from years ago, leading to a hesitant revelation that his late wife had mentioned a lost sibling separated in foster care after their parents' tragic accident. Victoria's world spinning as pieces connected, her orphaned young placed in different homes, never knowing she had a sister who married Alex and gave birth to Timmy, making the boy her nephew and Alex her brother-in-law by marriage, though widowed, the shock hitting her like a wave, tears streaming as she realized the bet's random selection wasn't random at all, perhaps fate or coincidence drawing her to her unknown family. The revelation unfolded slowly in hushed tones on the couch, Alex explaining how his wife Elena had searched for her lost sister Victoria but gave up after years of dead ends, never imagining the CEO making headlines was her, the resemblance subtle but there in the eyes and smile, Timmy unknowingly her blood relative, the reason he warmed to her so quickly, an instinctive bond. Victoria overwhelmed with grief for the sister she never knew and joy at finding family in the most unexpected way, the bet that humbled her actually healing her deepest wound of loneliness. Alex holding her as she sobbed, promising they were family now no matter what. The bet's end brought tears in his own eyes for the connection his wife would have cherished. The final day arrived bittersweet, Victoria packing her suitcase once more but with no intention of leaving, permanently discussing with Alex how to blend their worlds, her wealth and influence with his simple life, for Timmy's sake planning to reveal everything to the boy, gently explaining Auntie Vicky would stay forever, his excitement palpable as he hugged them both, the family complete at last. They celebrated with a homemade dinner, laughter filling the house, the living room where it all began now symbolizing new beginnings, love blooming fully between Victoria and Alex, no longer bound by a bet but by choice and destiny.